Okay, so this video is probably going to be uncomfortable for me to record, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I made a commitment to step outside of my comfort zone, and this is one of the activities that I guess I need to do to help take action on that. I'm concluding the series that I'm doing called Lessons from Lockdown with something about myself, a personal story that um, changed me and I had to face in order to push past some limiting beliefs to get to my next level. I remember grasping for air as my head was being immersed in water, only able to come up for a few seconds here and there until she would push my face forcibly again and again and again and again into the bucket that was in the sink on the left hand side. I was 6 years old at this time, and my, at the time, foster aunt decided that she needed to teach me a lesson and give me something to cry for, because I was what they called tender-headed, and I would cry when I would get my hair done. And so she felt it necessary to almost drown me while washing my hair. And at 6, I was devastated. When she finally let me up and commenced to just scolding me for crying when I got my hair done, I went to my room that I shared with 3 other foster girls at the time and got on the top bunk because that's where I slept. And I remember just sobbing and crying, wondering, why doesn't anybody love me? Thinking, why did my biological parents give me away? Why does this family, this foster family, treat me this way? And it was at that moment that I devised a plan. I said, I have got to get out of here. I've got to get out of this house. And so I was thinking, how can I get out of this house? What can I do to move to another family that maybe might care about me, that maybe would treat me like the other kids that I saw on TV and in the movies and things like that. And so I remembered that I had I don't know if they were weekly or bi-weekly or monthly visits, but I knew that I had regularly scheduled visits with children's services who would come to the house and ask me questions. They would examine my body to see if I had any marks, bruises, or anything on them. And so for this particular meeting, I said, the next meeting, I am going to tell my caseworker what is happening in this house, particularly about the incident where my foster aunt tried to drown me in the water. And so the visit happens, and I'm meeting with my caseworker, and I tell her, hey, first of all, I'm getting beat, I'm getting abused, and the other day, my foster aunt took my face and immersed it in water. I could not breathe. I was gurgling. I was, gasping. I felt like I was drowning, and she didn't care, and she was scolding me about crying when I got my hair done, and really, acting like, she was, I guess, teaching me some sort of lesson while she was washing my hair. And I explained how I felt. I explained all the thoughts that I was having, and I said, in conclusion, first of all, please, 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 don't tell anybody. Don't tell them what I said. Just get me out of the house. Put me in a new home, but I don't want you to tell them that I told you what was happening in the house. And so my caseworker promised me, no, I'm not going to say a word. We're going to investigate this, and we're going to get you out of here. And I was excited because I felt like, yes, I'm going to have some freedom. I'm going to have help. I'm going to get into a loving home for once and have parents, have somebody who actually cares about me. And so later that night, as was my custom or the routine that they had for me, I took my bath. And as I was getting out of the bathtub and I was soaking wet, my foster aunt came in there with an extension cord and commenced to like thrashing me and whipping me with the extension cord until I had welts just all over my body. And as she was whooping me, she was saying, "Why would you tell your caseworker? She told me everything." And she repeated um, everything that I told the woman. Um, excuse me. Even even the fact that I told her not to say anything. And at that moment, I was crushed. At that moment, I felt betrayed. At that moment, I felt like I can't even express how I felt, but it was at that moment that I came up with a few conclusions. I think that maybe helped me cope, that helped me get through the situation. And I said, number one, people can't be trusted. I can't trust anybody. Then I said, you know what? No one really cares how I feel or what I have to say. And then I thought about just what I had been through up to that point at 6, and I'm like, life is tough, but I'm tougher. And then the fourth thing that I thought to myself was, I don't need anybody, and I'll prove it. And so I put up what I'll call a shield, and I'll reference that a little bit later and how I discovered that shield. So I made those conclusions, and eventually I did, move on from that house. I did, continued to live and experience different things. And fast forward to present day, to this time of pandemic, to me, and everything that I was doing. And so when COVID hit, I was involved in a lot of things, a lot of activities outside of my job, a lot of volunteer work, different organizations, just you name it, I was doing it. And then meanwhile, trying to achieve the goals that I had. But I felt like as I was, going through that time, I was just going, thinking about tomorrow, but never really being present in the moment. Have you ever been there where you're so focused on the future and so focused on what you're after that you can kind of neglect, what's happening in the now? And I think that's where I was at when COVID hit, and I was going 200 miles an hour, and then I had to go 10 miles an hour. And I had to face myself. I had to think about all the things that I was thinking about. I had to evaluate where I was at, and I realized that I wasn't actually where I wanted to be. And in fact, I was holding myself back from getting to my next level, to achieving my dreams secretly, because really, I guess I was afraid of succeeding, afraid of stepping out of my shell, afraid that what I was doing didn't really matter, afraid that nobody would care. I don't know. I can't really put it in words right now, but I feel like I was sabotaging myself, getting up to a certain point in success and then somehow retreating back. And even though outwardly people looked at me, I believe at least, and thought, man, you are successful, you are doing this and you're doing that, and you published a book and you did a TED Talk, and you like listing all these things, but on the inside, I knew that I was not reaching my full potential. I knew that I was holding myself back because unconsciously, those conclusions that I discussed a little earlier had me stuck in what I'm going to call like a conversational trap with myself, so that whenever I wanted to take another step forward, I would feel like, but nobody's going to want to hear what I need to say. Or whenever I would try to go after a dream, I would feel like, but maybe I'm going to sound stupid, or maybe nobody's going to listen, or you know what, I don't need anybody anyway, I'm going to do all this stuff myself, and just in that conversational trap. And I remember at the beginning of COVID, I was, I think, realizing that I was kind of in that space and in that trap. And I started seeing on social media and hearing different people talk, saying that they were dealing with anxiety and depression and fear and all kind of stuff. And it was at that moment that I actually stepped outside of myself, which was a good thing. And I didn't worry about the what ifs of how I would sound or anything like that. I just thought about how everybody else was, or a lot of people were, aching and needing some encouragement and needing some answers. And I felt like I could help. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to start a YouTube channel and a podcast to encourage other people. Now, mind you, I wanted to do this before, but what held me back was the fact that I did not want to be seen. I did not want my voice to be heard. Why? Because I felt like nobody cared about what I had to say in the first place. But stepping outside of myself and thinking about other people allowed me to push past that feeling. I was wanting change, but I also wanted safety. I wanted something new, but I was stuck in the familiar. I was choosing predictability over purpose, but once I saw a need bigger than my feelings, I was able to push past it. But the work wasn't done at that point. And so as I'm going through this kind of emotional metamorphosis, a friend of mine sends me a book called Daring Greatly, and it's about vulnerability. And I realized that, okay, why is she sending me this book? I don't need to know anything about vulnerability. Vulnerability is soft, right? But I said, you know what? I have time, so I'm going to check the book out. Check the book out and realize that, I was in this loop, in this cycle with myself where I couldn't get beyond a certain level because of the conclusions that I made. Because when my trust was betrayed at 6, I said to myself, and I made an inner vow, that nobody's ever going to hurt me like that again. I'm not going to give anybody the chance to make me feel stupid, or to make me feel like they don't care, or whatever. And I was holding on to those feelings unconsciously and allowing those limiting beliefs to keep me from achieving, my full potential, and from chasing the dreams that I knew I had. So at any rate, in that book, the author talked about shields that people put up when they're not vulnerable. And I jotted them down because who knows, maybe someone listening is like me, and you've held on to some inner vows and things in your mind that have held you back, that maybe you didn't really share with anybody, and maybe you didn't even recognize were in the way. And now you see that, wow, there's things that I've said to myself that were true, right? They were true to you, but may not be the truth anymore, because I have plenty of people that love me. I have a wonderful family. People tell me all the time how they get encouraged and inspired by what, the things that I share. But if you don't believe that on the inside, there's nothing anyone can tell you that will change that. So at any rate, I'm going to conclude and segue here and just give you a few of the things that I got out of that book, and hopefully this helps. So she talked about the 3 shields that we need to put down. Oh, let me rewind. Let me rewind. So she asked the question, what would happen if you weren't afraid to be seen? Why are you holding up a shield to yourself? And I sat down and I actually thought about the question, like, what is it about me? Why am I shielding myself? And I think that's when I was able to trace back to those questions, and I was able to realize that I wasn't actually like a humble person. I was shy or nervous or afraid to open up. And so even though outwardly it probably seemed like being modest about accomplishments or modest about things that I'm doing, it was coming from a place of hurt, coming from a place that needed to be healed. And so, at any rate, she talks about these shields, and they really resonated with me. And hopefully, you get something out of this, and you can grow through this as well. So the three shields that she mentioned is, number one, foreboding, which is believing that when something good happens, something bad has to follow after that. And I think when you grow up and you've had negative experiences or a negative childhood, or you've been abused, or you've been rejected, or you've been mistreated, or things have happened to you, you can begin to expect that type of behavior from other people. You can begin to just say, like, all right, something good happened. When is the other shoe going to drop? I can't even allow myself to relax because I know something negative is going to happen next. And you can condition and train your mind to think that way. The second shield she mentioned was perfectionism, which is creating an addictive and unrealistic mindset where you feel like you're not good enough. And it resonated with me because I realized I was trying to achieve all of these things and going after all these goals and doing more and doing more and doing more and spinning in circles and in this never-ending loop because I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like I had something to prove because people made me feel like I wasn't important and I wasn't valued and I was rejected and all those things. And even though I felt like I was over all that, unconsciously I was pushing towards perfection in the things that I was doing, and to prove something to myself that I was enough. The third shield she mentioned was numbing, and this one really like hit me hard. Blocking out all feelings, ignoring shame, anxiety, and other feelings. When you've experienced various negative situations in life and in childhood, and you grow up feeling like you're not loved and like no one cares, sometimes you can get numb to what's happening, and you can tell yourself so much that I don't care, it doesn't matter, I'm okay, I don't need anybody, I mean, you can tell yourself that so much that in your adulthood, unconsciously you feel that way and you respond as such because that little girl or that little boy on the inside of you is still protecting itself with the shield. And as I was going through that book and I read that, I was like, wow. And she said, vulnerability is not soft, it's not weak, it's courage. Being able to open up, not being afraid to be yourself, not being afraid of how you're going to sound and what people are going to think and all that stuff. And I made a commitment at that point. I am going to be vulnerable. I'm going to express how I feel. And I don't think I had a problem expressing negative things that I felt, but I definitely had an issue expressing positive things and accepting compliments and expressing love in different ways and reaching out to people and all of that. And so it really touched me. And so as I conclude this, and I hope you got something, I feel like I'm a little all over the place, maybe because My emotions got kind of pricked a little bit while I was, just kind of sharing everything. Um, but she gave 3 tools that will help you put down the shields. And I'm going to give those 3 tools, but I want to say, when we put down the shields, when I put down the shields, when I tell you I felt so free, I felt just like a weight was lifted off of my shoulder. I felt like a kid again. I don't know. I just felt really, really great. I even had somebody tell me like that they noticed a change in me emotionally, that I was connecting a little more, and so I was glad that they shared that with me, and so it also, I believe, positioned me to really reach after my goals with everything that's within me, not worrying about how the outcome is going to be or what people are going to think. I realized that I'm not waiting on people. People are waiting for me. Somebody's out there waiting for the real me to stand up, because what I have to say is going to help them. And guess what? Somebody's out there waiting for the real you to stand up, waiting for you to step outside of your comfort zone, waiting for you to take uncomfortable, imperfect action, waiting for you to stop worrying about what people think and say and go after your dreams. So here's the 3 tools that will help you put down those shields so you can achieve your very best life. Number 1, she said, practice gratitude instead of foreboding. So instead of thinking about what could go wrong, try being thankful. Every day, find something to be thankful for. We all have something that we can be grateful for. Stop and be present in the moment. Instead of thinking so much about tomorrow and thinking so much about yesterday, what about today? What are you grateful for at this very moment? What are you appreciative of at this very moment? The second thing, appreciate the beauty of cracks rather than striving for perfectionism. Don't worry about what people think about you. And I don't mean it in the sense of just like live crazy and haphazardly. I mean, tell yourself, I am enough. I am unique. And yes, I may be a little awkward. Yeah, I know for a fact that I'm a little weird and strange sometimes, but you know what? That's what makes me me. And there's nobody else in the world who can be me like I can be me. And there's no one else in the world that can be you like you're you. And the last things is set some boundaries. Find comfort in tapping into your real emotions, and really owning your attitude, owning your behavior, owning your feelings, questioning yourself about, why do I feel this way? Why do I think this way? And when you respond the same way you've always responded, ask yourself, what if I'm wrong about this? What if I'm the problem and I'm the solution? Because guess what? You are the problem and you are the solution, just like I was the problem and I am my own solution. Tap into your spirituality. I believe in God, and I had to also take it to him. I had to pray. I had to not just own my own emotions and behaviors, but pray and ask God to heal me, to give me the courage and the strength to push past the feelings and let me see myself the way that he sees me. And so my prayer for you today is that you would see yourself the way that God sees you. That you would push past any limiting belief that you have so that you can get to your next level. That you would face any of the inner conclusions that you made as a child that could be prohibiting you from achieving your greatness today. That you would face those conclusions, address them, and move forward. That you would open up and not be afraid to be vulnerable. That you would allow this time that you've had to slow down, to think, to reflect, to be present in the moment and be thankful. Thankful to be alive. Thankful for another chance. Thankful for your story that you can share with somebody else and you may bless their life. Have a wonderful day.